out. Two more old-style patrol units sat along the road, while a red Nissan pickup and a white Honda, the victims' cars, filled the driveway. Two officers stood on the front porch, and another walked along the road toward the next home, which was at least 200 yards away. A plum orchard took up the long space across the street. Probably no witnesses, Jackson thought as he climbed out. Behind the farmhouse, a new streamlined building stretched to the back of the property. Vents in the roof leaked a pungent, almost skunk-like smell of marijuana plants. How far did the aroma drift? Small medical marijuana grow operations in denser neighborhoods had already generated complaints about the smell. The state, as well as city councils, would be tweaking regulations for years until the complexities were ironed out. Jackson approached the officers, who greeted him by name. "Anything I need to know before I go in?" he asked. "The shooting took place in the grow room out back," one officer said. "A man and a woman. No one's in the house in front, and there's no sign of a disturbance there." The loud crunch of footsteps on gravel caught his attention, and Jackson turned. Paramedics rounded the corner of the house, carrying what looked like a small woman on a sling gurney. Jackson moved toward the back of the ambulance, hoping to see the victim as they loaded her, maybe even ask a question. "Is she conscious?" he called as they approached. "She wasn't when we arrived, but we stemmed the bleeding, and she's more responsive now." Jackson held up his hand. "Give me 10 seconds." The paramedics transferred the victim to the wheeled gurney they'd left behind because of the gravel path. The one nearest him said, "She's still critical, so make it 5. Jackson moved toward her, noting the woman was in her late 20s with bottle-blonde hair and dark roots. Her pink t-shirt was soaked with blood, her face was ashen, and her eyes were closed. He hoped Shaq had already taken photos of the victim where she'd been shot. "Miss, can you hear me?" Her eyelids fluttered. "Who did this? Do you know the shooter?" Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Jackson leaned in. "Try again. We want to arrest the bastard." "Old man." The words came out in a breathy whisper. "Which old man? What's his name?" The victim didn't respond. "Time's up." The lead paramedic pushed the gurney onto the lift, then turned to Jackson. "I think the bullet nicked her liver, and she's lucky to be alive. We're taking her to North Mackenzie." Jackson stepped back and said a quick prayer for the woman as they loaded her into the ambulance. She might still have a long life ahead. He hurried around the side of the house where the paramedics had come from. Before the day was over, he would probably search every drawer and closet in the home, but he needed to see the crime scene. As he crunched along the gravel path, he glanced down, watching for evidence the perp may have dropped. Had the shooter even taken this route? The perp could have gone directly into the house, then, when he didn't find the targets, out the back door to the nursery. Jackson would have the forensics team photograph any footprints in the entryway of the home and dust for fingerprints, but without witnesses, they might never know exactly what happened. The metal building came into view, and a moment later he spotted the covered walkway between the back porch of the farmhouse and the nursery. The structure was so new, the single window in the front still had a sticker on it. The door stood open, and he spotted Shaq inside, kneeling on the floor. Jackson pulled on paper booties and latex gloves, then entered the grow room. The toxic mix of pot plants and fertilizer made his eyes water. Remembering that all smells were particulate, he pulled a paper face mask from his bag and slipped it on, too. Lined up in neat rows, the lush 6-foot-tall plants glistened with ripening buds under bright lights. A drip watering system snaked through the long, narrow room. How much had they invested in the business? It hardly mattered. They'd probably earned it back already. Jackson stepped toward Shaq and the body on the cement floor. The victim lay in front of a counter, a tall wood platform partially covered with little plants in plastic cups. A shop light hung low over the starts.